For exercise 5-32-3, I want to begin by starting a sketch on the front plane. And I'm going to click on Sketch. I want to make sure that my closed loop indicator, my open end indicator, and my grid are all turned on. And to start this one, I'm just going to start simply by drawing a circle right here, and then pan over a little bit and draw another circle right here. I'm going to connect the end point of this circle and the center point with a line, because that's going to be something that's important to me later. Now, the back side of this has a diameter of 1.25, and the circle that I'm using in here has a radius of 1, so I'll make the diameter 2, and 6.5 is the distance between the two. So by laying out all that information, I've gotten pretty far, pretty close to where I actually want to be with this information. Now I can draw a line that simply comes out this way, and I'm going to end that line right there. I'll draw another line that's going to come up from here, and I'm going to be drawing this basically to the center of that hole. And I want to make sure as I put in the rest of these points that I don't accidentally place any constraints. Now I can draw a circle up here, and I'll draw this circle kind of big. I know that I want this circle to be tangent to this line. And I also know that I want it to be coincident with this endpoint, which means they're going to touch. Now the thing of it is I need to come in here and use delete segment and get rid of that little piece that's in there. If I don't do that, then nothing else on here is ever going to actually work. So what I'm doing right now is I am deleting the parts and pieces of this that I am no longer going to need for this operation. So now you can see that I've gotten to my closed profile, and I can begin my dimensioning process. So we'll dimension this object at 1.5, which is just half of the 3 that I need for that particular piece. This is 0.5. The drop in here is 0.25. And the distance from here to here is 0.75. Our radius on this is 2. And the distance from here to the center is 0.75 divided by 2. So with all of that done, you can see that I've got a closed profile, no open ends, all of my dimensions in place, everything is where it's supposed to be. I can finish this sketch now and go to extrude. And I'm going to extrude at the 0.5, which is the main thickness for the part. But I'm also going to do a mid-plane extrusion because I want to be able to use some of these features to create the additional parts and pieces that I have. So I'll finish this and immediately come down to mirror and select my bottom edge as my mirror plane and hit the green checkbox. Now I've got most of the information I need. I'll go back to the front plane and do a new sketch on my front plane. And in this case, I'm going to go to the use command, and I'm going to use this line, I'm going to use this line, and I'm going to use this piece, and I'm also going to grab this. I'll work on this front part first. I'm going to draw a circle that's slightly bigger, go to delete segments, get rid of this, this, and this, and now you can see I have a closed profile. I'll change this to the 1.25 that it's supposed to be. And now I'm going to delete the information that I had on the back here. So I'm just going to click on this and hit delete, and you can see that it leaves this reference circle behind. So I can just go ahead and draw a circle right there. Now I should have 2 closed profiles and everything should be in there, so I can finish this sketch. Now these 2 rest in the middle of my part, so when I go to extrude, if I do a mid-plane extrusion, just like I did with the first extrusion, and a distance of 1, which is the total thickness of this piece, once I hit the green checkbox, you can see that I have the 2 parts that are sticking out from this just as they are supposed to be sticking out. And now I can begin to work on the rest of the features that I actually have in here. So I'll click on this side right here, do a new sketch on this side, go right into the sketch, and I'm going to draw 2 circles. circle here, and I'll pan over a little bit and just draw another circle right here. Then I'm going to begin drawing some lines. Make sure I go to the line command first, that cut directly across this object. Go to my delete segments option and get rid of the segments that I do not need. And now all I need to do is dimension where this thing is with relationship to the rest of the part. So I can zoom out and begin placing my dimensions from here to this center point. Okay, come on. From this reference to right here, and for some reason it's not letting me pull up that dimension right now. I'll get back to that one in a second. Okay, it wants from there all the way to the back side, which is just going to be 5. The overall dimension between here and here is 3. Okay, my middle click isn't working for some reason. So we put in our 3, and the radius that we have for each of these sides is going to be 0.25. So I've got my distance of 5, my distance of 3, my distance of 0.25. I'm ready to finish this sketch, and now I'm going to orbit so that I can take a look at this, and I'm going to extrude this profile. Let me go back into that sketch. Evidently there's something missing from that profile. So I'm going to go to Edit Definition, and I'm going to take a look back at this thing. And I can see that it's closed, but I want to check for any overlapping geometry. Doesn't look like I have any of that. Doesn't look like I have anything out of the ordinary here. So let me attempt this again. We'll go to Extrude, and this time I want to go a distance of 0.125 the other way, cutting. Now I'm going to hit the checkbox, go immediately to Mirror, and select my front plane and the checkbox again. And what that's going to do is that's going to recreate that cutout on the other side for me. So now I've got almost all the features in here that I need to have in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a new sketch on this top surface right here, and we'll click Sketch. And this one here, I'm really going to cheat my way through this one, because this can be a lot easier than you might think. I'm just going to go to the Use command, and I'm going to use 3 of these lines. Draw a line that cuts right across. And then I'm going to go to Delete Segments, and delete this and this. I can now finish this sketch, and instead of Extrude, I'm going to select Revolve, with this being my axis, and I only want this to go 180 degrees. Now I can finish this, click Mirror, grab my plane, hit the checkbox, and now I have it on the opposite side as well. So now, as you can see, I've got all of the features in this object that I need to have into this object, minus the holes. So now I can begin to place my holes, and I have concentric references for all of these. So I'll left click this face, hit Control, grab my axis. I want this hole to go through all with a diameter of 1. So I will finish that hole off, and then I'll go right back to my hole command, pick this face, hit Control, and hit this axis. Again, it's going to go through all. This one has a diameter of 0.25. Finish this one. Go right back to the hole command. Select this face, hit Control, grab the axis, select through all, hit my checkbox. The last thing that I want to do on this piece is I want to add the fillet, which is an R of 5 that goes to the end right here. So I'm going to click on my round command, set 0.5 as my radius. I'm going to click this, and I'm going to click this, and hit my green check box to put those two fillets in. And there you can see I've got the completed exercise 5-32-3.